What's up, everybody? It's Industry Professionals.
This week sucks.
This week it's abysmal. It's another one of these episodes where we watch a lot of bad movies, and this week we chose a hot topic called the Fantastic Four.
We thought it'd be good. We didn't know Stan Lee would die.
Yeah, and Stan Lee also happened to die
Because now
this
it
week.
seems disrespectful.
Yeah, because
that
we're
we
about
talk
to
about his worst creations.
Yeah, it's in case you didn't get the impression already, none of the movies we're about to talk about did we enjoy. Okay, I take that back. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed the 2015 one, but just because it's like fun to watch and like kind of try to piece together things in your head.
For you, it's fun to do the detective work.
Exactly, yeah. It's like fun to be what
what
was a reshoot?
what
and
happened
what wasn't.
here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, whoa, what?
You go into a room and there's just like blood everywhere, and you know, for you the fun is being like, what? How did it get like this?
Yeah, exactly. That's what the 2015 Fantastic Four is. We're gonna save that for the end. We're gonna go in the
Do
order.
we want to talk about the Fantastic Four first? Because I think that there are some problems with them that make it so that no movie will ever succeed about them.
Yeah, sure, go.
I think a big hurdle to clear is that they bring nothing interesting to the table that other franchises don't.
Like what?
So I think the X-Men franchise is successful because it has sort of its social undertones,
Yep.
and you can have a lot of different powers. Spider-Man, he's like, you know, a more light-hearted,
He's a kid.
yeah, sort of like he's
Delivering
a kid,
pizzas.
he's a nerd. You know, even like stuff now that like didn't really have a niche carved out for it. Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah.
He's like mystical. There's the more mystical. There's Guardians of the Galaxy has sort of its style.
Yeah.
Thor is more of that mystical. Black Panther has its own stuff. Like all these bring new things to the table, and I just don't think Fantastic Four have a niche because I think
It has the potential to.
I don't
feel.
think it does.
Come on, they got the thing. What other team of superheroes has a rock monster?
That's a not interesting superhero.
Yeah, I know.
That's just a worse the Hulk.
Hey, this one can talk and has feelings.
I actually don't mind Ben Grimm as a character, but I think he's the only compelling character there.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's so I think that that's a big thing to clear because I think if you really wanted to make drill down into what makes them different is the fact that they like have interpersonal relationships and are scientists, and I just don't think
That's the most unbelievable part.
I just don't think you can make a fun blockbuster movie that really drills into how they're scientists.
Yeah, I guess so. But The Incredibles is very similar to the Fantastic Four movies, just in terms of like four superheroes, all with very similar powers. Like 3 out of the 4 Incredibles are 3 out of the 4 Fantastic Four, and
yeah,
then
there's
the
no
other
Rock
one,
Man.
yeah, well, no, there's like a
Rock
really
Man's
strong
strong.
one,
Yeah.
which is Mr. Incredible, and then the Elastigirl, which is
Oh, there's no Fast Boy.
I mean, there's no Human Torch, but they are very fast and they have pretty much the same personality.
Yes.
With like, I have no responsibilities,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can
Bart
be
Simpson.
reckless.
They're all Bart
Yeah,
Simpson.
exactly. Oh God.
Eat my shorts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so the song we played in the beginning,
Oh,
we'll
right.
get to that.
We should probably give some context. We just came in with that. Whatever, you can do it. You
We'll
guys
get to
don't
it.
care. It's a Sum 41
but I
song.
think one of the problems is that they don't bring anything. Like it used to be that they're a team, and that's the thing that's interesting.
Yeah.
But the Avengers are a team, and they're better.
Yeah.
And
And the Incredibles are a team
Yeah,
that are
and
better.
they're better.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is there's some goofiness, like the fact that their names I think are actually a large problem.
Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic,
Sue Storm.
Sue Storm, and worst of all,
Johnny Storm.
worst of all,
Doom?
Victor Von Doom.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
There's no way around it. In each adaptation,
Yep.
you think, how are they gonna do that? And the answer is they play it straight, and it always is very bad.
Oh, dude, like in the newest one where they're like, you have this Doom guy, and then just shows a piece of paper that says Victor Von Doom.
Yeah, you
and
can't-
It's the most like.
I would almost say you have to have him not be the villain of a successful Fantastic Four because it's too weird. It's the reason you don't have any Batman movies with the Riddler in it because my
yeah, we
man's
do.
name is Edward Nygma.
Oh, really? Oh, because it's Enigma.
Yeah, and you just
Nice.
can't, like, same with like Mr. Freeze, like it's just too campy. It's too campy.
That's true.
It's too campy for the current climate of superhero
Yes,
movies.
that is very true, and that's one of the things I think that the newest one had trouble with because it was trying to keep up with the current state.
I
of
think
film.
it was even maybe trying to take it back a bit. I think
Really?
because I think now Marvel is a little bit past past
grittiness.
the grittiness,
and
yeah,
is now like, let's have fun.
and is now like
That's
we're gonna
true.
have lasers and like Thor Ragnarok is
Crazy
like
colors.
not gritty at all. You know, it's like
That's just Spider-Man: Homecoming is a straight up comedy.
yeah, it's not gritty.
That's true.
Avenger, you know, Black Panther, not gritty. It's more it. I think they've actually found a flavor of movie beyond the gritty reboot, which is just comic book feeling,
Yes, they have.
which is actually really commendable.
Yeah,
That's
Marvel
pretty
has
cool.
kind of nailed the comic book aspect
Yeah.
of comic book movies in the sense that there's like just like a serial number of them. Like, you know, Black Panther's like a solo movie that's not really tied into the Avengers, but he's in it. So
They all sort of just have like a joyful aesthetic. Like even the
Yeah.
Avengers, even Infinity War, right, which is the darkest,
yeah,
is still bursting with color.
yeah, it still got color. It still has like comedic moments, and like there's like not that many stakes in terms of like somebody could just get like thrown off a cliff and then live or something. You know, actually that happens in Infinity War.
What are you
Nobody
talking
lives.
about?
Like in Black Panther, he gets hit by a rhinoceros and then flies like 100 feet in the air and lands on the ground and then is still alive.
Oh, you mean like we're not worried about stuff on that level?
Exactly. Like,
Yeah, sure.
We're not worried about like them getting hit by a car.
Yeah, no.
It's like comic book stuff.
Yeah, can you imagine if that happened? If during like an Avengers movie somebody like got
Trips
hit by
over the stairs.
That's what, there was the one Avengers movie where or was this Winter Soldier? No, this was Civil War. God, there's so many.
Yeah, there's.
When Don Cheadle falls out of the sky.
Oh right, you're like, oh, somebody got hurt. And
Yeah,
it's like,
and
nope.
then it's like, nope.
No,
Yeah,
we didn't-
I
we didn't-
remember being pretty unhappy there.
It's just
but-
like, oh, we finally somebody died, and it was like, even if it was just like the most small side character, and it didn't.
But I think we have it on record many times on this show where I want everyone to die. In
Oh,
these
yeah.
things.
I know I wanted everybody to die in these
Permanently.
movies.
But no, I think that the 2015 was taking it a little bit back, like to before Marvel sort of rose to its supremacy that it's at now with the cinematic universe, to when Batman was the model of.
Like the formula for superhero movies.
Yeah, and everybody was like, okay, we gotta.
You mean like Batman 1990?
no,
What do you mean?
like Dark Knight,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
and then so we're like,
So you
we
mean
got to make
it-
this grittier.
It brought it back 7 years. Is that what you're saying?
I guess.
Wow, that's really bringing it back.
I just think that they went darker than
Yes. Then
the tone it was at when it came out,
yeah, no, I hear that.
or tried to aesthetically go darker.
Yeah. Well, this also was the year before DC spiraled out of control.
true.
Like Batman v Superman was super dark, right? Or
I guess
supposed to be.
It's. I mean, it's so like melodramatic. Like it's
Well,
dark
yeah.
in the sense that
It's
that
lit
in the sense
darkly.
that Sucker Punch is dark, right? Where like sure it is, but it's you don't feel anything for this because it's such a visual like I don't know.
It's so glossy. It's
Yeah,
so,
yeah, it's so-
everything's
exactly.
gray and blue, and there's a lot of slow
we should
motion.
do a Sucker Punch episode.
We
for
should just have
sure.
a Zack Snyder episode.
I remember I watched Sucker Punch as a goof recently.
I
And
remember
by recently,
trying to do that.
I mean, within like the last couple of years.
yeah, same.
And Oscar Isaac was in it, which bummed me out. I didn't remember that.
That's a bummer. Oh, did you see this movie in like your younger years?
No,
Oh.
I wanted to though. I saw the trailer and I'm like, finally, a movie for people like me.
Oh man, that's bad. Yeah, Sucker Punch made for people like you
Yeah, there's World War I, but there's robots
and samurais
and samurais
and dancing girls
and that old guy that guy, the actor who's the old guy in that.
No,
He's in The Leftovers.
yeah, I haven't seen that either. We talk about that a lot
Yeah.
about how I haven't seen it on this show.
Yeah.
All right, so we've been going at this for a few minutes and we haven't even gotten.
Let's talk
into
about
this.
the first of the movie.
Yeah, we're gonna go about these in order, and we're gonna group the two that are.
And we see them transform in every movie. What if you didn't do that? Like, I'm not saying that would be good, but I'm saying if everything's failed and you've done one thing every time, try doing the other thing.
Yeah,
Maybe.
right.
And maybe
like,
it fails, but
almost every iteration of the Fantastic Four is like an origin story. It's
I think
like
everything but
the Silver Surfer. But yeah, but that's just because it's a sequel to one of the ones.
Okay, so let's talk
All right.
about
So,
Good God.
what prompted this topic this week was the fact that the 1994 Fantastic Four was put on YouTube earlier this
Yep.
week. Because
And like all films that we watch for this show, we were happy to find out that this could be watched legally as we make sure that we can do all of our viewing in a legal manner.
yes, under the eyes of the law.
Yeah, we've been warned by the FBI. That's what the FBI warning is for.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, so this movie, just to talk about some of the history behind it, it was made literally just to obtain the rights or to keep the rights.
To keep the rights
of Fantastic Four. The production company at the time, is this Fox as well? I didn't look that far into it, but yeah,
One of them was
yeah. The night. Well, I think all the new ones are.
probably.
But yeah, this movie made in 1994 was just made so they could keep the rights to the Fantastic Four in case they ever wanted to do something bigger.
And they did.
They most
did want to
certainly
do
did.
that.
But yeah, they got Roger Corman, who's like like the low budget wizard. He like makes a bunch of
Really?
He's like an executive producer who's like executively produced like 400 things,
Oh
and
my
they're all
God.
like really cheap because he knows how to make things for really cheap.
And it didn't show too, but that's
No, yeah, this movie was supposed to have a $5 million budget.
why would you make a $5 million? Like, I
wait,
feel it.
No, you have to wait.
Okay.
Because then once Corman got onto the scene, he was like, nah, let's do it for $1 million. And then they did it for $1 million.
I honestly respect that.
I respect that. And the best part is that none of the cast and none of the crew knew the intent of like the studio.
Oh, no.
So like they were like doing press tours. They were like a day away from the premiere. I was reading this morning when the like studio was like, "Oh no, we're actually not gonna release it." And everybody was like, "What? Really?" It turned out
Get the Franco boys on the phone. I want a disaster artist movie
Yeah,
made
about
about this.
right. This would be such an interesting story because like nobody knew, and they all thought they were like.
So they were
genuinely
everyone was
making a
giving it their
movie.
all, being like, let's make this $1 million movie.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like,
If I were-
a day before the premiere, they found out it's never going to be released and was never intended to be.
Dang.
Yeah,
So you're like telling all your friends, like, honey, I got the part.
I'm going to be in this. There were trailers for it. There were posters
Oh,
everywhere.
no.
And
Wait,
the
why
studio-
even do that, though?
I don't know.
Was it, now I'm starting to think that this was all like a social experiment, like they were studying the actors.
I don't know. It was.
It's like a Westworld situation.
There's like a quote that's like, they said I had to make something out of the Fantastic Four in order to keep the rights. They never said it had to be anything big. So my theory is that they just wanted to like show, like they had posters and trailers, and they're like, yeah, it's coming out. This is a
Honestly,
real thing.
this sounds like a Nathan For You bit.
Right? It sounds like Nathan For You is like messing with the Hollywood studios.
The plan: make a
Make a
make a
Fantastic Four
Fantastic Four movie for only $1 million.
But yeah, this movie is directed by Oli Sassoni, somebody who
Ah,
you've never heard of.
Classic of the spaghetti westerns.
Yes. Yeah, there's not
Can
much.
you tell me about him?
No, nobody can.
He doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
I mean, like, let me click on his name. I don't think we're going to get much. He doesn't even have a picture. Yeah, his Wikipedia page is like a couple sentences.
Can you read it, please?
It's not in this language.
It's not in English.
No, it's. I don't know what this
Was
is.
this whole thing shot in like Serbia for tax reasons?
I don't know, dude. Oh wait, I was reading stuff this morning. There was something about the filming. Never mind. I don't know enough to actually.
You know
say
that
anything.
that's how they got. I hope we haven't told this story on this show.
What?
How they got Matt Damon for his cameo in Eurotrip.
I feel like you talked to me.
So he does the Scotty Doesn't Know song.
I've never seen the movie.
He sings. I've never seen it either, but I've seen the
clip.
The clip.
Where he has a shaved head.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you do know?
No,
the
because
clip.
you told me about it.
Okay. Well, they got it because he was like grounded in Prague at the same time they were filming it in Prague because they thought there was like a SARS outbreak.
Yeah. Go on.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah, and then they got Matt Damon.
Yeah.
He just showed up on set.
And he was like, "Yeah, hey guys, I'll do."
Is that a Matt Damon
No,
impression?
it was Christian Slater.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Hey guys, I'm gonna be in Euro Trip.
Okay, so this movie, Fantastic Four 1994, also huge missed potential, the 2005 version, to not release in 2004, am I right?
Yeah, they really missed.
Yeah, they really dropped the ball. 'Cause
Yeah.
The 1994 version had it down.
They should have capitalized on all the potential that they had.
It's like when Casino Royale came out in 2007, and they could have 007 as their thing, yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
I was thinking about that about Game of Thrones because it was delayed until we just got the release date, which is like July 2019 or something.
You got it.
And I was like, at that point, if you're delaying it, look, one, HBO, hire me for this idea. Two,
Here we go.
If you steal this idea now, I'll know. But you might as well. It's already pushed back. Push it back further. It'll make people more upset. But release it on like the winter equinox or whatever.
Some day that
Like
has
whatever the day
symbol-
that's like the deepest day in winter.
Yep.
That there is. Like, come on, that's a great publicity thing. Don't do it now because you've already said the date.
Yeah.
But before anybody knew, you could have been like, and we're doing it then. And people wouldn't have been that mad because they're already waiting for it.
Yeah.
So that's why, we're industry professionals.
Yeah. Well, we were waiting for this movie. We chose it because this movie was really hard to find, the 1994 version, because it was never released and only like bootlegged copies were floating around.
It was really? Was it like a cult thing?
Yeah, that was like the only way you could watch it is if you found a bootleg copy of it.
That rules.
Yeah, it does, but now it's on YouTube, so everybody gets access
You
to
get
the
it, and you
bootleg
just
copy.
assume it's like one of the bootlegged, like, it's
One
like
of
a
the new
bootleg
Fantastic Fours?
Nigerian Fantastic Four or something, and you watch it and you're like, wait, what is this?
Yeah, no, this movie is overly cheesy.
It spends a lot of time on them as human beings, which I think is
A lot of time. I feel like all the
these do.
origin story movies really do.
because they're like, we need to know them before. Well, actually, I think
I agree with that. We do need to know the characters.
they're like,
but-
we need to know the characters before they get their powers so that we can see, how they react to that, which I guess I get, but also is weird to do in this $1 million movie that's just done for like a legal loophole. Like, why bother with plot structure or anything?
Yeah.
But in all of these, they actually have 2 stages of required setup, where the first one is we need to learn these characters, and then also because these characters have history together.
Well, yeah.
And that's always the thing. So there's always a time skip in all of these.
Yeah, in every single one of these movies, they're
Yeah.
they're jumping years.
Yeah.
This one, the most amount.
Every
of
single
years.
one has at least one time skip. Does Silver Surfer have a time skip?
Ooh, maybe not.
But they all have to be like, here's how the characters are.
Yeah.
And then here's them later, and they're like, remember that Dr. Von Doom guy from the beginning? And I'm like, yes, obviously I remember him. You wouldn't have introduced him to us
Yeah.
and then had a time skip if you weren't going to have a moment where we remember him from the beginning.
Yeah. I remember when this movie started, they're all supposed to be college students, and they're all just like mid to late 30s actors.
That romantic subplot
Oof.
is straight up gross.
Oof.
Gross. Gross.
Yeah, it's not good.
The age difference is
Yeah,
insane.
It's bad. And then like later they meet the Storm's mother because Johnny and Sue are siblings, so they have a mom.
They meet them like
And
after the time skip, right?
After
In
the 10-year
first,
time
like,
skip.
Yeah.
And the mom is like looks the same age as them. Like they do not look that much younger. Like at most 10 years younger than this mom.
It's also I hate it because they're like, they show up and they're like, can Johnny and Sue come out to play?
As like a joke.
Yeah, but it's so creepy because then like the Sue walks down the stairs and it actually this moment happens in all but the newest movie. There's a moment where Reed Richards
Mr.
looks at her
Fantastic.
and thank you, Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Fox, yeah, and it like slows down and like plays he hears music.
Oh
'cause
yeah, and
that's how much
everything
he's in love
slows
with her.
down.
And she's walking down the stairs, and he basically is like stuttering. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You'd be such a fox."
Yeah.
And the mom is just like watching them like be awkwardly close and like
Yeah.
just watching on, and I don't like that that's all prefaced by him being like, "Can your children come out to play?" Like, it's very creepy.
Can I actually play a clip from
Yeah,
that
go
scene?
for it.
So this is a moment in the movie where, you know, it's one of those things
is-
where they introduce the team.
In
and-
the industry, this is what we call an applause beat.
is that what that's called?
I don't know.
All right, either way.
This is you're supposed to clap when you're in the audience.
Okay,
you
gotcha.
know?
All right, get ready, everybody.
Anyone for a ride in a rocket ship? I'll drive.
Oh.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. We've got a lot to do.
Don't let anything happen to my babies.
See to it personal.
This is really weird, right?
Just wait.
Look at you. The Fantastic Four.
All right. So yeah,
Chewie.
it's
We're home.
it's one of those scenes where they say the title of the movie, and then the characters just stand there and stare at her, smiling for like 7 seconds.
And they're all just like, because so this movie's in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it look like this? Why is everything so old? Why does everyone look like they're from, like, not Leave It to Beaver, but like the
Dick
Brady
Van Dyke
Bunch?
Show, yeah.
Why does everybody look like the Brady Bunch?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
What is going on? They
There's-
even sound like it's an
Yeah,
older. I guess that's just it's low.
that's
budget.
probably just the low budget and the fact that it's been bootlegged and
Good God.
but like this movie is like written like something like that, and it is like it's so overly cheesy. Like it reminds me a lot of the old Batman show with Adam West and like the 1966 movie.
Why
where it's
doesn't
like,
Batman dance anymore?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like where he has bat shark repellent.
Yeah.
And it's like there's so much cheese and it's clearly low budget, but the difference is that Batman makes light of it. whereas-
Batman like was stupid but had heart. Like,
yeah, exactly. And it knew it was stupid and it had fun with it. Whereas this is like just stupid. And it doesn't know how to have fun with that, and it just straight faces it.
I'm just thinking of the Simpsons episode where they're talking about the old campy radioactive man, and he's like, "Look out! It's the worst villain of them all, the Scoutmaster."
But yeah, this movie, I have in my notes here that there is nothing notable really about this movie other than
Well, that's not true because it's in your notes.
oh no, well other than like because most of my notes come from like the first 30 minutes of the movie. And
Yeah,
you
because
just,
after that, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
Wrath of Khan, right? After that,
Yeah.
your eyes glaze over.
yeah, it's like I have like general thoughts just like about the movie where it's like, oh, you know,
I thought it was
what's
weird.
up with the sewer elf that's introduced?
I forgot it. Okay. I was worried because I was like, we won't be able to talk about these movies for long enough. But in fairness, I forgot the sewer elf. So
Yeah.
that added like 30 minutes to this. But
What's up with this? Okay, so in this movie, they're like going to like a bank or some place with like crystal jewels, and they're going to like set up a security system and then watch to see if somebody tries to steal it. And as soon as they set it up, there's this elf guy with a top hat
he really
and a monocle.
does look like, and I'm not just saying this to meme, he looks like Danny DeVito in the
Troll Toll.
as the Troll Toll guy
Nightman
in Always
Cometh.
Sunny.
Yeah.
Nightman Cometh. That like is what he looks like.
Yeah, no, it looks like that. It's like short, wide, and like
He
has the
looks like
nose.
a dude from Pan's Labyrinth.
It looks like one of the bankers in the Harry Potter movies. You know, it's like
the like highly anti-Semitic goblin bankers.
Yes.
Yeah.
it. And he's like wearing a tux with a top hat and a monocle. And
Yeah,
he's like,
but he
"I'm
like
gonna
lives
steal
in
the
filth,
jewels."
and like he lives
Yeah.
in a room with like other like kind of deformed people with like
Other
like rubbishy
sewer
coats,
elves.
and
Yeah.
like they look like cartoon hobos that like eat
Yeah.
cans of beans.
Yeah, like over a trash can fire. Yeah, no.
Everyone has fingerless gloves.
Exactly. Yeah.
There are just like chains hanging in the sewer.
Yeah. So this guy is like what Andy Serkis was in Black Panther. Like,
I
it was- 'cause
love that guy though.
Andy Serkis in Black
Yeah,
Panther. Well,
yeah.
he's
He's like
a dirt.
he's like me in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If I were a character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I would be Andy Serkis in Black Panther.
That's crazy because he's like slimy as
Yeah,
fuck.
no, I know.
Yeah, no, he's like the side villain who's not the main one, but he's there to cause some mischief in
Yeah.
the meantime.
And like Andy Serkis, his whole thing is he's like, I'm dirty.
Yeah. I'm grime. Yeah. And then he's like, I don't think this elf guy is really connected to the plot that
He
much.
kidnaps the blind woman at the bank.
Yeah, the one who's dating the thing. Or
Well, they're
has a
not
thing
dating.
with
The thing is that in probably my favorite scene, they're going through the bank and Ben Grimm knocks over. She's carrying like a vase.
Yeah.
And it smashes. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And she's like in hysterics. She's like losing it. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And he lifts her up, and they have like a moment of like romantic connection. But it's like, that's not what you do in that situation. He just like knocks something over, and then like it's not
Picks
like
her up.
yeah, he's not like getting her out of harm's way.
Is this before or
even.
after he becomes the thing?
Before.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
And it's not even like he's moving her out of harm's way or anything. Like the damage has already been done. He's just assaulting her.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where you're like, that doesn't translate well.
But she feels his face and falls in love with him
Exactly.
from his face. And we see that because she's sculpting his face.
That's what that was about? The clay thing, that was supposed to be the
Well,
the
she's
face?
sculpting, and that's why
Okay.
she's sad, because when he dies, when they die,
When they turn into the thing.
then she has to make like funeral faces for them, for like a statue or
Okay,
for like an open
yeah.
casket or something. So she just does the orders. It's actually like kind of could be a powerful moment
It's not.
if it were earned in like at the end of a movie or something. But she's sculpting his face and realizes it's his face, and then it makes her sad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a lot that we have to figure out.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I didn't know that. Ben just explained this to me.
But B, that was like, that's kind of heavy.
Yeah.
Potentially, if it was good. Like,
That's the thing. That there are elements of the Fantastic Four where it's like, oh, that could be good.
I don't know.
All right,
I think that
we'll
this
get
is.
to that.
I think that this is actually going to be one where I'm on the other side than that we always are. Where I'm the one being like, I hate this, but there are things, and you're like, I don't know that I'm willing to even say
Yeah.
that they're things.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know if they're even things.
I got you. Yeah, usually I'm the one who's just like, no, it can't go like that.
Yeah, usually I'm the one who
Is more open-minded.
is more open-minded and willing to make myself vulnerable and kind of interact and like the exchange of ideas and like
I'm not.
I'm also like the funny one usually and like
Yeah.
the
I'm
kind
the
of the
straight
brains,
yeah.
but also like the brawn.
I'm like the jack of all trades, but
Master-
but I'm the master of all of them.
Yeah, that's like a very Michael Scott. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the jack of all trades, master of
Everything.
Well, also master of all trades.
Yeah. Let's talk about the scene where like the whole thing is that they have to get to the speed of light.
Yeah.
That's like their goal.
Yeah.
And then that's what makes
We're
it
gonna
so
see some real stuff.
So when they turn to the speed of light, that's when they get their superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
That sequence is so stupid. It's just them with like, there's zoomed in shots of their face, and there's just bright lights, and they're going,
It's very like Star Trek, like
Yeah.
where they can't have the set get blasted by something, so it's just
Yeah.
Dutch angles of the people acting like they're being thrown to the ground.
Exactly. Oh my god. So there's a scene in the movie where the Thing has to fight a bunch of people, and the way he does it is
Oh, I know.
by standing. The shot is just staying still,
Mm-hmm.
and then the screen itself starts spinning.
Well, it makes punching noises. It's like it doesn't even sound like punching like that.
No.
It sounds like
Yeah.
yeah. It sounds like the sound effect
Yeah, it sounds like a cartoon
as
sound
the
effect.
as it spins.
It's spinning like a spin art toy.
It
It's
spins like a spin art
ridiculous.
toy, and the thing that is impossible to describe over the radio, I think, is that it's not a full screen spin. It is.
The screen is spinning,
The
and
screen
you see black
within
in
that
the background.
aspect ratio.
Yeah.
So you see the black behind
You see
it
like the
as it
corners
spins.
of the screen.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And it looks like a bar mitzvah PowerPoint.
on the iMovie, like
yeah,
it's,
yeah. Like what I did this summer. Like,
yeah, it's abysmal.
because that's a big theme of this movie. Obviously, I mean, it is $1 million, which again, shout out to them. That's extremely punk rock.
Well done.
But so they do everything that they
did
can
what
to
you could.
avoid powers being depicted in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
There's actually one that I respected, which is they do a pretty clever shot of Mr. Fantastic stretch powers, where it's shot like second person, like you're facing him and you see his hand
Coming
behind
at
somebody.
you with the zoom and the focus.
Well, it's him pulling something back towards him.
Oh, right.
So it
There's-
actually does, like, it
Yeah.
obviously, you look at that and you're like, that's a camera trick.
There-
but you're also
yes.
like, that's a pretty,
I agree.
that's a respectable camera
I
trick.
agree when it did that sequence because he comes at you and then he comes back. I thought both those were well done.
Yeah. Because they have, like, I guess, like a fake hand.
A fake
around
hand that's, like,
and
in
so
focus.
it can pull back, and there's a word for that in art when, like, in perspective, when your hand is forward and you can't see your arm because your hand is covering it up.
Okay.
Sure. You know, because it's in the foreground. It's a thing.
I bet.
Any artists, let me tell you about the studio number.
Give us a call if you got some insight.
Yeah, if you can talk about forced perspective.
Yeah, lay it on us, everybody.
Yeah. Call. I was about to read the
No.
number off of this.
Um,
Or you can call Dan's personal number at...
yeah. There's where were we?
We were talking about the camera tricks and how it tries this camera spinning around or not show powers.
Here's the thing: is that there aren't many more camera tricks in this movie. It's so blandly shot. There's like it happens a couple times. The Thing will be fighting a bunch of henchmen or something, and it'll be like a Dutch angle from below. A Dutch angle, by the way, is when the camera.
Okay,
is
let's not
okay,
let's
never
not
mind.
treat our audience like babies, okay? Like, I think
Look-
even if they don't, here's the thing: even if they don't know what it is, they'll just look it up, and then
That's fair.
and then we won't look like jerks.
That's
But if we
fair.
explain things, you know who we're gonna sound like.
Oh, Zach Braff.
It rhymes with Hermont Schmilm Snessnentials.
Oh! Take that, Vermont Film Essentials.
Whoa, I didn't say that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like looking at him from below, and he just sort of gets up and puts his arms up, and then like 3 more guys just start flying in the background. That happens like 6 times. Yo, can we talk about the soundtrack to this movie
and how it's
awful and sounds almost exactly like Jurassic Park at sequences?
It actually does sound a lot like Jurassic Park. The thing that weirded me
insane.
out is that they have a recurring
theme.
yeah, they
Yeah.
have a
They have a-
melody
they have a
with
score.
different, like a sad version
Yes.
and like a heroic version.
Yes, and it all sounds
a
pretty similar to
leitmotif, by
Jurassic
the
Park.
way, is we're not going to do that. I'm not going to tell you what a leitmotif is.
Oh no.
Actually, I think a leitmotif is smaller than a theme. Like a leitmotif is like a melody or something that comes back.
I think I'm getting what you're saying.
It's like my best comparison is Lord of the Rings, but I heard from some viewers that your lack of knowledge about those films was astounding.
My lack of knowledge? Who told you that my lack of knowledge of Lord of the Rings was astounding?
I think it was my dad.
Well, to be fair, I started that
Shout outs to
episode.
Mr. Heller, by the way.
Was that last name drop?
Yeah,
Ben?
dude. Well, my dad, we don't have the same last name.
Yeah, all right. I don't know. I thought I started off that episode being like, hey, I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So I feel like anybody giving me flack for that should have stopped listening to the episode once I said that.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
old man.
Yeah, all right, Ben's dad.
Oh, man.
Hope you're listening. All my notes are just like from the first 30 minutes of this movie.
But no, you
I
were talking about the
checked
theme,
out.
the music.
It sounds like Jurassic Park.
I was just surprised that they had a full
Yeah, that's true.
score.
That was surprising to hear like an actual soundtrack made for the movie.
Yeah.
Although I think there are songs that are like just like generic soundtrack songs that I've heard in other stuff. Please tell me you have an example, because there was one song where I was like, "What is this from?" And I couldn't find it.
royalty free soundtrack.
Yeah,
music.
exactly, stuff like that.
Like the stuff that Nathan we're talking. I've been watching a lot of Nathan For You again.
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
watching through that for like the 3rd time or something. He uses only royalty free music.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
It's so good.
Anything else you want to say about this movie?
Yeah, it's not. So superhero movies were not really superhero movies at this time. Like I watched the Captain America.
That's very similar to this, I
1970,
believe.
Where it's like it's not. You can't really even show powers. So Captain America was just kind
What
of
about
a
the
guy.
Superman movie?
That's true. I
77.
think that's actually.
And then 1990 Batman.
Okay, I'm just trying to finish a thought, but like.
Sorry, go on.
No, I'll wait. Because of how you can't show a lot of the the stuff that makes it flashy. It's just like the guys robbing the bank are just like dudes in
and,
a van
trench
with
coats.
guns,
Yeah.
and like not cool costumes.
Yeah, they're all wearing like a rain poncho looking
Yeah, exactly.
thing.
Like, and the Captain America one. Captain America is just a guy who rides around on a motorcycle, hitting people.
I've seen clips of
And
that.
one time, it threatens someone with a gun.
Oh,
He
man.
just
Oh, my
holds a
God.
gun to someone. That's my favorite part of the 1970s Captain Americas. Although they're also the guy who they get to play Captain America is a football player with no acting experience.
That's even better.
They're really good.
Sorry, I had to yawn.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot this episode.
I mean, this, if you're not a Vermont listener,
Yeah.
I don't know how that's.
What are you getting at?
It's a bad day. We had a bad day.
We got hit with like a foot of snow this morning.
Out of nowhere.
Been, yeah,
Nobody's on. Like, it's a ghost town. Everyone's asleep.
yeah. I woke up today at 10 and the streets weren't plowed.
I woke up at like 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning because
Yeah.
there was somebody shoveling or plowing like right outside my
Oof.
window.
Ooh, yeah, with one of those small plow
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
That's rough. Let's not talk about the snow. Let's
Yeah,
talk
okay.
about the movies we
Sure.
watched for this show. I got not much else to say about the 1994
It's
version.
absurd that it exists.
It's absurd that
It's
it
a
exists.
testament to.
And I think if you watch like a video with highlights of it, that's pretty much the best you're gonna get.
And I think it speaks to a thing about all these movies, which is that the Fantastic Four is such an also-ran superhero franchise.
Yeah.
Like, this was a throwaway movie, and I think they all are.
I would disagree with you once we get to the next movie. The one with the star of Captain America, Chris Evans.
That's true.
Do you want to hear something funny that I read this morning
What?
about the Fantastic
Is
Four
it about how
movies?
Chris Evans can't read?
Is that true?
No.
Oh my god.
Absolutely not.
How would he know his lines?
He's just,
just doesn't know. He
That's
just
just
people tell him to him. Yeah. No,
can't teach that, you know?
So apparently for the newest Deadpool that came out, Deadpool 2, when Tim Miller was still set to direct it,
Mhm.
they were trying to get Chris Evans in it as his Human Torch role.
That's so sad that Chris Evans and Tim Miller got dumped from the Solo team.
No, anyway, no, but listen. I think what I really wished would have happened is that apparently in Deadpool 2, after the Chris Evans idea got scrapped, they're like, nah, let's just get like the rebooted Fantastic Four back. And they were trying to get like Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan and the Kate Mara and the Thing all into Deadpool 2 for some reason. And
Very weird.
I think that would have been hilarious just because no, they're not going to be into anything together like that again.
Yeah.
And to see something like that played for laughs.
I
and
do. It is
self-deprecating
crazy
humor.
that Michael B. Jordan and Chris Evans were both in Fantastic Four movies,
Yeah.
and then both went on
Yeah, to do Marvel.
to succeed far beyond that within the Marvel Cinematic
Oh, yeah.
Universe.
Yeah, totally. And I believe in a few years we'll probably see the Fantastic Four do the same thing after the Disney Fox
Where it'll
deal.
be like Dylan and Cole Sprouse play the
Oh, my
new
God.
Fantastic Four, and then are in the MCU, which is still going.
Yeah, which will be chugging along still because there's no end in sight.
Mhm.
Isn't that weird how like you thought there'd be like a fatigue that would set in, but there just hasn't been?
Yeah, I think. I think
I'm so burnt out on these
that's
things,
just
man.
how things are gonna go now. Like we
Dude,
think
it's gonna be
things,
like the
we think that
Westerns.
things are gonna come to some sort of turning point, but they just never will.
Yeah.
Like
And-
Amazon will just keep getting bigger
And worse.
and own more of us.
treat their employees
And
worse.
like politics are gonna be and like
Yeah.
Disney is gonna
Yeah.
become king.
Yeah.
And like all this stuff that we're like eventually it's gonna hit a point though. And just nothing
It's
will
gonna
ever
be a
hit point.
revolution. But no, I'll be plugged into our VR machines by then.
Yeah.
So, let's fast forward to 2005.
Ready Player One.
This was the big version of the Fantastic Four that
I saw this in theaters.
I saw this and the second.
I
in
remember
theaters.
eating at Applebee's first.
That sounds like a very fitting duo right there.
Yeah.
Applebee's
Yeah.
and the 2005 Fantastic Four. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was the movie
I think I
that
saw it with my grandma.
this took 10 years to make. Like 10,
What?
Okay.
they actually use is a Boyhood style thing. They use the same cast.
Yeah, dude. When it says 10 years later, they're not kidding.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Can
no.
you imagine if?
They took like an actual break.
Well, no. If Boyhood, did that and did like,
He's a baby, and then 12 years later.
12 years later, and
Filmed
they
over 12
actually
years.
spend 12 years for the one
Yeah.
time skip.
No.
I'm just like, you don't need to do this.
Yeah, no. So after that, the 1994 version was never released in theaters. They like were already working on like another Fantastic Four movie, like a new version of it, and one that would be much bigger in budget and like be a better movie. And like,
Damn.
yeah, and that was like there were just rewrites and such. Scripts were being passed around and shifted up
Oh,
until
I have notes on this one.
up until like Mark Frost, I think, came in
When
and
him and Simon Pegg rolled through.
oh no. Is this and I don't think it's the same Mark Frost that does Twin Peaks, so
That seems highly unlikely.
yeah. So yeah, it's like it's the 2004 version. Y'all have probably seen at least a picture of it.
It's abysmal. The writing is
Yeah, it's a text
is-
you sent me this morning.
the writing is truly, it is written, and that's the best you can say about it.
There is a script.
And they're like,
There is
this
dialogue.
character needs to be this way, but if anything, it's that makes it so. It's the most ham-fisted writing.
Oh, yeah.
My first note is when they're talking. So it starts out with Reed Richards and his friend Ben Grimm meeting with the totally normal Victor Von Doom,
Yeah.
who is like what, like a Elon Musk type.
Yeah,
right before that
basically.
was a thing.
Yeah. Like a Steve Jobs type.
Yeah,
Before that,
yeah. So like dead.
not yet.
Oh, okay.
No.
So they're talking to him, and there's so much of this. There's so many things that you're just not supposed to do when you're writing dialogue.
Yeah, tell us what you're not supposed to do when writing dialogue.
Say when they're talking to him, and he's like, "Don't forget, this isn't our first stop. Remember how many people we've talked to before this?"
Oh, right.
Like
okay.
stuff like that.
Sure, yeah. Lazy exposition.
You live through this. It makes you appreciate having the right woman in your life.
God.
Like what?
Anything about romance is just horrible in these movies, and like pretty much any.
There's
of
the line
female
when
writing.
Elon Musk is talking to
We're just gonna call him Elon Musk.
Elon.
Elon Doom.
He's
Victor
Elon
Von
Musk
Musk.
actually is real life Victor Von Doom.
Victor Von Musk. Let's call
He
him.
came from a weird, different country,
That. Yeah.
but is, but like, so Victor Von Doom is like, he's proposing to who plays? Is it Jessica Alba? He's proposing to Jessica Alba in space. Which is, this movie is peak 2000s, and we'll circle back because we got to talk about.
That's why we played Newt.
We got to talk about the pinnacle of this movie, but
That's
he's
the pinnacle.
absolutely. He's proposing to her, and he's like, most men want to find a woman who they can give the world to, and one that doesn't seem correct. That seems like a weird.
I guess I kind of get what you're saying.
Sort of, but
but it doesn't make much sense.
like that's like a written ass line of written dialogue.
No, yeah.
And then she's like, okay. And then he's like, but in my case, that's more than a saying. And he opens up the windows and you can see the planet.
Uh-huh.
But he doesn't give the planet to her.
No.
He's like, in my case, I mean that literally. And then that's not what literal is.
Well, no, it's literally a planet, and then it's hers.
But it's not. And then he proposes to her.
Dude, the world is his marriage. A marriage with him. That's the
Oh,
world.
and then he says,
what?
if you're worried, maybe it'll help if you just think of it as a promotion. Where it's like, oh, that's the thing a good guy would say, right? A good guy would say, like, oh, I'm getting, like, here, spouse, you're getting promoted.
Oh, that's so gross.
It just reminds me of there's this old Jake and Amir sketch where he writes a script and he's like, interior, money. This mofo only cares about cash. And he's describing his protagonist, Derek McMillionaire.
Can we talk about? It's in the very beginning too. Something that really set the tone for how this movie was gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all talking. The Thing. They're not Fantastic Four yet. The characters, whatever their names
Look at
are.
you, the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Anyway.
You know what you said? Exactly what I needed to hear right now.
Yeah. So Reed Richards, Sue Storm, and Ben Grimm are all in the same room, and they're talking like, oh, blah, blah, but we need to go to space, blah, blah. And then one of them goes, wait, where's Johnny? And then he immediately cuts to like, I don't know, some 41.
It's Velvet Revolver.
Velvet Revolver, that's what's playing. It's Velvet Revolver playing.
Scott Weiland's early 2000s
It's like,
project.
it's a hard cut to
Yeah.
Chris Evans on a motorcycle next to a convertible car,
I actually
making out with the driver of the convertible car, and then he goes, "Thanks, sweetie," and just speeds up
I
and drives
thought
away.
that they were because they're standing watch and they're like, where is he? Like
Yeah.
it's 5 minutes late. Where is he? And it cuts to him and it's like, damn, can you find the scene?
I don't want to. I could try though. Fine. Yeah. What? Keep going. You have to keep talking if I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. It's pretty like never before has it been so obvious that I'm supposed to think a character is cool. And it
Dude,
being
he doesn't care about anything.
and I
He's
love
reckless.
like the dialogue after that is he's like, I'm not letting him pilot. In fact, there was this one time when he snuck Victoria's Secret models onto the base and like all this stuff that's just like,
Dude, he's not a responsibilities guy. He's like rough around the edges.
yeah,
a
he
bit.
has a little bit of a fiery personality.
He's
even,
kind of
wouldn't you
careless.
say?
No.
This is rough, man. This guy's respected now.
Chris
This guy like
Evans?
tweets about politics and people are like, yes.
Chris Evans does?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'm
probably.
sure he's had some like anti-Trump tweets and
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean,
you know.
yeah, that's
and
fair.
people are like, yeah.
I agree with that.
Like he
Chris Evans.
tweeted himself with like an I voted sticker.
Yeah, probably.
And this is the same dude that was like in this piece of garbage.
Yeah, oh my god. And I'm just gonna come out and say it. He's my least favorite part about these movies.
Absolutely. But he's the only part that made it bearable to watch because it was so ridiculous.
That's
If
true.
it weren't for him, these would have no element of being a fun movie to watch for this show.
True. Actually, no, that's not true. The Thing is pretty funny in these movies. Just how he looks and acts and talks and the hijinks that ensue. I'm gonna play a scene that's gonna probably paint a pretty clear picture as to what.
Is this the skiing scene?
No, this is right before the skiing scene.
Okay.
This is just a sample of what Chris Evans' dialogue is like throughout this entire movie.
These movies are also weirdly sexist for not that long ago.
These
Like-
movies are very sexist.
Like a lot of like even when they're up in the when Sue Storm makes their costumes because she does in all of them, she makes their clothes. Michael Chiklis is like, "Oh, thanks, sweetie."
Yeah.
And I know that they like go back, but like, dude, what? Highly unprofessional.
Yeah. All right. So just get ready for something along the lines of that.
Sure.
We've noticed, but the sickest runs this side of the Alps are right outside that window.
Yeah, I've noticed. But there are rules here. You can't leave until we
Until we
finish.
finish the test. I know I've never been good with rules. You let me know how those come out. Do you want to help me with the zipper?
You know, this is not a ski resort.
Not yet. Luckily, Grandma still sends care packages, though. You know, it's amazing. For an 80-year-old woman, you'd be surprised.
You are trouble.
Trouble is my middle name.
Oh, you're hot.
Why, thank you. So are you. And I'm not afraid to cry.
No, I mean, you feel a little feverish.
Well, I've never felt better in my life. My God, you smell good. Listen, when do you get off work?
4, but
Tell you what, you meet me at 4:01 at the top of the mountain. I'll give you a minute to freshen up. This is yours. Oh, that's mine. Versus.
Okay, worst part about that scene is that pretty much right after, she goes to the top of the mountain to go skiing with
No,
him.
it's a different woman.
No, it's not. I'm pretty sure it's the same
No,
woman.
it's a different woman.
Is it really?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought I remember it being the same woman, because then he's like, I'm so glad you actually did this. And then she jumps out of the helicopter and he turns to the helicopter pilot and he's like, you know who that is? That's my future wife.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the same woman.
Oh, it might be.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, that makes more sense, I feel like.
does it though?
I mean, in real life, no. In movie logic, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, so y'all just heard that. That was pretty awful.
Yeah, that's like
You're hot. You are too. Oh, what was the? And you smell good.
Yeah, that's
Ugh. Ugh. And then he goes, "That's yours. This is mine." Kisses her.
Yep.
Ah.
Yep. No, that's okay.
No, it's not.
No, that's an okay way to act in life.
Yeah, if you're Chris Evans as Johnny. Yeah, so that's how he is throughout the entire movie. And then he's also, of course, the one to be like, once they get famous and they're like celebrities, he's the only one to like embrace it and try
Which
to
I
sell
think
out.
he kind of is in the 2015 one as well, about with, you know, as in he's the only one that embraces.
I guess, but the thing in the 2015 one like works for the government.
Yeah, but he hates it.
He hates it, but he still does all of it.
But like, I think the thing about this that's so funny is that he is supposed to be the epitome of cool.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's very dated because they project onto him all the things that the early 2000s thought were very cool.
Extreme sports, cool
And the
cars.
biggest one is extreme, like X Games style.
Oh, yeah.
Like this
The
is
X
very.
Games
I
is in the
wrote.
movie.
I wrote. Bam Margera as Human Torch.
Yep. That's basically it. Like, yeah.
The Ace of Spades.
Yeah, no, there's literally an X Games sequence in the movie where he's
Well,
like,
so he sees the X Games on TV, and then he's like, "I gotta get out of here," and then goes to the X Games.
well, yeah, because he was frustrated with what was going on in his personal life,
How-
so he's like, I'm gonna go to the X Games and participate.
How close were the X Games to him?
They're in the city, dude.
Uh,
That's easy.
how did he work into their time like schedule?
He's the torch.
He asked. Then
Torch shows up.
It was weird because then he's doing tricks and they're like, "That's good," but then they heckle him. And he's like, "That was kind of old school.
Yeah.
Show us something cool." And it's like, so did they not know what he was gonna do?
Yeah.
Did they? How does this work?
I don't think you're supposed to think about it
I
much.
know, and I know that these are Dan questions, but like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, and then right after that, he's
these are
walking.
some cinema sins questions.
Yeah, exactly. He's like walking out of the X Games with like, you know, girls around
Which
both
is like
arms.
very, like you don't see that anymore because it's dumb.
Like he's like walking out of the X Games, just everybody taking pictures of him, and then the Fantastic Four just happened to like the rest of the team just happens to be there.
They
and
saw him
then-
on TV.
Yeah, I know, but they show up at that moment.
Oh,
and they're
well,
like,
sure.
and they're like, "Oh, you're the worst," and he's like, "Move it, brickhead or
Yep.
whatever." to
Yep.
the
Probably
thing. Yeah.
Pebbles.
Pebbles, yeah, move it, Pebbles, yeah. Ugh. Can we also talk about the scene?
Can we get the skiing scene? Can we? Do you have that up?
Oh, I couldn't find it anywhere
Really?
legally.
Oh, okay. Wait,
so-
what? You only what? It was on like Dailymotion or something.
I mean, this video was on some website that's YouTube.
Okay.
This is weird. Anyway, no, I can't find the skiing scene.
Weird.
I apologize. Either way, it plays Velvet Revolver's song.
No, it plays Sum 41.
Sum 40 it
They're
plays
skiing
News.
down the
Okay.
mountain, and they jump out of a helicopter, and it really
Ugh.
does film it like a snowboarding video
Yeah.
or something. You know, it's like very much, and he does like a triple axel. I don't know. you
Yeah,
know.
sure.
Um,
And then he starts catching
he
on
catches
fire.
on fire, and then I have never predicted an exchange more in a movie in recent memory, which is
What
when he
happened?
catches on fire. The girl looks over and says, "You're on fire," and he says, "Thanks, you're pretty good too." And I'm like, as soon as he catches on fire, I'm like, she's gonna say, "You're on fire,"
He's
and
gonna say thanks. Take it as a
Absolutely.
compliment.
There is no chance that doesn't occur.
And lo and behold, it does. And then he ends up crashing, and he makes a hot tub, and he's like,
Yeah.
come on in."
Yeah, the water's fine, beautiful.
Yeah,
Get
exactly.
in this pool now. It's like weirdly forceful.
That's what all these.
Yeah,
that's
no,
the perfect
absolutely.
adjective to describe all these weirdly forceful.
Yeah.
So there's this.
Or also, I feel like the setup with Michael Chiklis when he's like, "Let's go have dinner," when he like sets up a dinner that they're gonna have with Sue, and then he's like, "Ugh, I ate bad shrimp.
Yeah.
I gotta go. You two lovebirds stay
Well,
here."
I I don't think he was like actually doing that. I think he was turning into the Thing and had to go.
Oh.
Because remember, it was like rocks in his stomach going like.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that was.
I
actually
thought
him
it was
having-
like he was wingmanning.
No,
and
it
I'm
was-
like, that seems kind of not.
It was a script
awesome.
convenience, but I don't think it was the
Okay.
thing with Wing Manning.
Sure.
Yeah, no.
Thing Manning.
Thing Manning. Also, his transformation was just like turn of a coin. Like he's human one moment, and then he
gets
goes under a blanket.
So
he
here's
comes up as the
a
Thing.
Dan observation.
Here we go.
Or a cinema sin. I'll call it cinema sin.
Am I
It's not
cinema
Dan.
sense? Is that
No,
is
I
that what
just
I'm
think
being
that
brought
you
down to?
notice more consistency
Nitpicky.
issues and
okay,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
that's fair.
Is when he's like, I gotta go lie down. He goes to his room and then is now again hooked up to medical equipment.
Did that happen?
Yeah,
oh my
because
God.
because you see screens and his pulse is
Yeah,
spiking,
yeah. Oh my
and
God,
it's
you're
like
right.
unstable, right? Because you never see a screen unless it's saying something that
Yeah,
a
yeah.
layman can understand. So it literally like it can't. We're too dumb to even understand BPM, so it has to say like critical problem.
yeah.
And it's like, wait, so he went back into the room and hooked himself back up to like an EKG and stuff?
Yeah,
That's
dude.
highly
He
weird.
ate some bad shrimp.
If I don't make it.
yeah.
So, but that, I'm like, that's highly stupid.
Yeah, that's fair. There's the right after they get transformed, the Thing is all sad because he's the Thing now, understandably, and he's sitting on a bridge, and then like a businessman is like about to like commit suicide. And
Yeah.
He goes, "Hey, buddy, you can't be any worse than me, am I right?" And then the guy is obviously like terrified. Shenanigans ensue, I guess, and the Thing ends up causing this huge scene on like a bridge just trying to save this one guy. He ends up like smashing into a semi and like all these cars are flipping over each other, and then the Fantastic Four just shows up, like just like is on the bridge suddenly, and it's like, how did you get there? Is this a Dan issue again where it's like
I think
too nitpicky?
it's probably it's I mean it's stupid, but like it's stupid because it can be solved with one scene of just
Something.
you see it on a television.
Yeah,
You
like-
see that happening on a television. You don't even need to show them seeing it on a television.
No, and then that's pretty annoying. But then what's even worse is that his wife just shows up,
Yeah,
and then takes off the ring, and everybody. My favorite part about that is like clearly a sad thing is happening, and his wife is like taking off the ring and putting it on the ground, and then walks away, and he looks really sad. But everybody else, like all the civilians watching him, are still like clapping and cheering for him.
They haven't been given the note. To...
No, they're all paying attention to him, but they're all like, "Yeah, the Thing." And it's ridiculous.
What are you, some kind of the Thing?
Yeah, and the Thing that nobody wanted.
I hate all the naming moments.
No, okay. All right. Here's
What I will
one.
say: the CG in this movie is pretty decent.
You're lying. You're not.
When he
telling the
puts his
truth.
arm under the door.
anything with the stretchy guy, anything is horrible. Like when the Sue Storm puts two shields around him and he gets flattened and then spun. It's just like
It's awful.
it's awful.
Was it good for the time?
I don't know. Probably.
2005. No, it was not good for the time.
Now that I think
Spider-Man
about
had come out.
it. That's true. Spider-Man had come out.
All the Lord of the Rings movies had come out.
That's true. Yeah, this movie has horrible CGI. You want to just get to the second, just cause?
Yeah, the second one takes the bold choice of trying to have a continued plot.
All right, here's my thing. Second one's better than the first.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, cool. We're in agreement. And it seems like everybody else's too. It has higher ratings pretty much across the board. On all the
Who
review
played the
sites.
Silver Surfer? Was it anyone?
Doug Jones did the motion capture, of course.
Really?
Yeah. Well, that don't really me. That makes sense. You
No,
know
I'm
Doug
just surprised
Jones.
because he.
He's a senator.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I get where that was going.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Doug Jones, the guy who plays monsters in all the Guillermo del Toro movies, and then Lawrence Fishburne voices him, the Silver Surfer, which makes sense. I like the beginning of this movie. It just starts with a planet that just gets sucked into a thing, and then the beam comes out of it, and that's the Surfer. And it's like, oh, you don't know what he's up to, but you just did see him destroy a planet, and nobody said, like, there's the Silver Surfer.
Well,
He's
doesn't
destroying
Silver
planets.
Surfer doesn't destroy the planets?
Well, yeah, it turns out that he's not, but that's not the information we're given.
Do
in
we
the
learn
beginning.
that in this movie? How much do we learn about like?
Remember, it's the cloud of evil or something.
Yeah, it's not
Dude,
what it is
the
in the
ending
comics,
makes
though.
no
Right?
sense.
It's not
No.
Galactus.
No, it's not. I don't read any of the comics, but
I know about.
I saw Galactus came up a lot when I was researching these movies this morning, and the lack of Galactus in these movies was disappointing
Because
to
I
a lot of
think
people.
the Fantastic Four are kind of like the rival of a bunch of the space guys. Like
Yeah.
the bad guy in the Brie Larson movie, I think, is gonna be
Captain Marvel
yeah.
is going to be Galactus.
It's gonna
Oh.
be like a Skrull, which is like this
Okay.
race of alien that battle the Fantastic Four,
That makes
and then
sense.
there's Super Skrull, who's
Oh,
a
is that why she
Skrull with.
punches an old lady in the face because it's a scroll in
I
disguise?
think it might be. That's my guess.
Yeah.
And then the Super Skrull, which is a Skrull with the powers of all the Fantastic Four.
Oh, that's cool.
No, it isn't.
No, it's really not. That happens in the end of this movie, though. Oof. Ooh, it really does. Yeah. So I don't think that the Silver Surfer in the beginning is really that bad. I'm like, okay, I'm following.
I just think it's weird that he's a surfer. That's just always been my
That-
hang up about the Silver
I
Surfer.
agree. The fact that he's literally on a surfboard and
Very
he's called
strange.
the Silver Surfboard
Because he's not from
Surfer.
Earth.
Yeah, and it's like
he's not.
he's literally a human on a surfboard. It's so stupid, but it's one of those things where you like just kind of have to
Yep.
accept it and move on. But then we get back to the Fantastic Four, and you realize, man, I really hate these characters.
Yeah, I don't.
Because immediately Johnny's like, "Yo, you're getting married, Reed? Gotta have that bachelor party."
Hell yeah.
And it's like, I wrote in my notes, I said, not excited for the bachelor party they're talking about. And then I was like, later in my notes said, I was right to not be excited.
That was.
Yeah.
I gave it a chance, but I was correct.
yeah. Yeah. And in between that is Doom is suddenly alive because Doom is suddenly alive now.
Yeah.
He wakes up in Antarctica and then somebody helps him break out. Somebody who we see, but we don't hear or see the face of really.
Well, that's I feel like that should have been the post-credit stinger, really.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But instead he becomes,
To get us excited for Fantastic Four 3.
which probably was supposed to happen at some point.
Probably.
but
I
this
mean,
made
any
less than
movie
the
that
other one.
can feasibly make money is supposed to happen.
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, Doom is for some reason the bad guy again, a la Transformers style, where Megatron's just the villain in every movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's just the villain again.
Put the cube in my chest.
The All Star.
Are you ladies' man
Shia LaBeouf.
217? Doesn't he have that line?
What?
I'm.
Yo, what?
You think I'm just having a stroke?
Yeah, what's going on?
Okay. One.
Give it to us. Go.
I got like a wave of drowsiness as I was saying that thought that already wasn't coherent. There's a scene and this doesn't matter to anything that we're talking about.
Not at all.
There's a scene where Optimus Prime finds Shia LaBeouf. And I'm going insane on air. He sees Shia LaBeouf and he's like, because he had been posting on like Craigslist trying to sell this cube. I vaguely remember.
Oh.
He's trying to find the cube, so he knows his username. So Optimus Prime grabs Shia
okay.
LaBeouf and he's like, "Are you Ladies Man 217?" And it's like a comedic beat.
Dude, that was so much for that reference. That
Yeah,
was
man.
something.
Yeah, my brain don't work right all the time.
That's why the good people of our industry professionals community tune in every Friday
Yeah.
to hear us.
And
do
they
that.
also
Nice.
they also
No,
tune
no,
in.
no, 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 no.
Tune
Don't
in
you dare.
because programmers, please read
Stop.
this announcement during your broadcast.
Yeah.
PSA: The art of the interview.
That's all you gotta do. Come on.
What?
Come on, that's all you got. You can just
Okay.
stop right there.
Or not? I'm not gonna read this copy.
Yeah. Sorry to everybody who doesn't get it. We're not gonna explain it. Anyway, so
I'm kind of the Johnny Storm of the recording booth.
of industry professionals, of the professionals. So they're at the bachelor party, and the whole thing is that like Reed doesn't want to have bachelor party because he seems like a good guy.
Because he's a goody good boy.
Yeah, and then
Because he's an incel.
he gets to the party, and you know there's like a big dance party, and he's like, I thought you said there were gonna be no exotic dancers, and then Chris Evans is just like, well, they're not exotic, or something, and it's like, jeez.
Yeah.
And then
this ain't it, Chief.
Yeah. And then what happens? He starts to like talk to the girls, and then he's explaining the Big Bang to them for some reason.
Because he's like, is it because
He's
he's
a
like
nerd.
drunk? He's like, it's
a drunk
him
nerd.
getting like
but then
tipsy.
but they're all sitting there like, what is this? The Big Bang? Whoa, this is so interesting. And then like they're like, oh, the song just came on. We have to dance. And he's like, oh, I don't wanna. But then he goes and dances and kills it on the dance floor because
he's
got
so
all those
flexible.
stretchy moves. And then he ends up with his arms around a bunch of girls dancing. And of course, that's the moment when Jessica Alba walks in with the government. And that conflict is like very brushed over. It's like the next scene, she's like upset him. She's like, you know, it's really upsetting that you did that. And he's like,
that
well,
he what?
that he was dancing with girls on his bachelor party. And then he was
Isn't
like,
that what you do?
dude, don't normalize bachelor parties. Come on. The movie was normalizing bachelor
Wait, what do you mean
parties.
don't normalize
Like
them? They're-
gross bachelor parties were
I'm not saying they're not
dudes
gross, but I'm
dance
saying they
with
are
chicks.
normal, right? Like
Bachelor parties?
they're yeah, or are
Yeah,
they?
they are a
pretty-
common
or are they
practice.
done? I feel like they're done less and less now
Oh yeah, totally.
because they're like,
Gross.
yeah.
But
But like, I feel like that's within acceptable behavior.
I wouldn't say acceptable, but it's within realistic behavior.
What? Oh, okay. Again, I'm not.
Yeah, choose
We
your
really-
wording carefully.
We really are
Ben.
switched this episode.
Yeah, dude, I'm so rehearsed. on
If
these
she's
Fantastic
culturally
Fours.
fine with the idea of a bachelor party, I don't understand why she's upset with
Yeah.
what she sees there.
Yeah,
How about that?
because then right after he's just like,
Check.
yeah, no, you got it. You delivered your point well. Anyway, and then he's just like, oh, but we have to save the world. And she's like, okay, well, it's nothing to compare to what I did at my bachelorette party. And then he's just like, but wait, what did you do there? I have some questions. And it's like, ugh, really? That line was just so. I think my eyes got stuck looking at my brain because of how far they rolled back into my skull.
I can't, but that's only because my brain's too big for me to for my
Yeah, dude,
eyes.
my brain's
to
popping out of my
see.
ears.
It's really bad. That's why sometimes I just start saying nonsense. I'm like, Optimus Prime,
Transformers references.
ladies man. Oh, sorry, I just got really tired. I need to lie down.
Haven't had my coffee.
I actually have not, but
Yeah.
that's beside the point.
That's probably why you're all over the place today.
Mm.
There's a point I wanted to make about these two movies, the Chris Evans ones, is that I don't get what kind of stance they're trying to make about being famous, because there's parts where you're like, okay, so 3 of the members of the group are like, we don't want to like have all the money and the fame. That's just what's coming with what we're doing because we're superheroes or whatever. And it's Chris Evans who's like, no, let's cash out on it. I love the intention. But at no point in either of these movies do they show that like one side is benefiting more or something. I don't know.
One
how to
side of
phrase
what
it.
exactly?
Like one side of the argument is like more okay.
Like
There's
cashing
what-
in on.
Yeah, like because we see Chris Evans cashing in, and then the group criticizes him, and then that's about as far as it goes. Because then there's no
Sure.
like actual repercussions for him doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's only just like, well, he is still successful. and
Whereas,
making
like
a lot of money.
you know what does this?
And then the group themselves do the same things as him, and they like cash in on success, and they're like, yeah, we're the Fantastic Four.
You know where
we
that
kick butt.
That disconnect is well explored is the Iron Man movies.
Yeah,
They deal with that in an interesting way.
I
think.
agree.
But this,
They did the whole superhero celebrity thing in a much better
yeah.
light. These ones really drop the ball because they're like, yeah, they're famous, they got nice cars, and they got cool music.
Yeah,
and there
yeah,
they
yeah.
are on the runway.
And they go to the X Games.
Yeah.
And you have a lady on each arm, and you roll up in a Lamborghini. Like, dude, this is so early 2000s. This is so like the coolest things are like X Games, Need for Speed, like cars with neon like underlighting.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Drag
Tokyo
racing,
Drift.
highly cool.
Drag racing's in the newest one, too.
It is, but it's not.
It's
cool.
styled. Yeah, it's not cool.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about how there's 2 scenes that are pretty much the same in these movies, and that's Invisigirl she had to lose her clothes to become invisible, but now she's not invisible. She's covering up.
Well, that also they do that a couple times with Human Torch as well.
Oh, that's
Where he's like,
true.
"Oh, I'm covering my crotch with
That's
something
true, but what's
comical
happened?
because I burnt up."
But like, why does that have
When
to
I had
happen
flame
in
on.
both of these movies? It's like, please stop.
I mean, it's because they're written by people who are either not good writers or don't care about writing something good,
writing.
or think that they're writing something for an audience that they assume is dumb.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
I don't know which of those it is, but it's got to be one.
Combination of both, probably.
There were three things.
All of them. Let's talk about more plot of this movie. So the Silver Surfer, when Chris Evans touches it and he loses his powers. No,
Yeah.
he touches the Silver Surfer and he feels funny, and then he touches another member of the team, and then they swap powers. And there's a scene where he swaps powers with the Thing.
And he says, "I can look at myself naked."
That's Scooby Doo. That's
Yeah,
a Scooby Doo reference.
yeah, yeah.
Nicely done.
But the same type of character.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he's very much Freddy.
Yeah.
Freddy.
I could.
Fred.
Yeah,
from,
Freddy.
Freddie from Scooby Doo. You know,
Freddy from
there's
the Five Nights.
there's Freddie, Shaggart,
Scubby.
Wilma, Bam Bam.
Yeah. So this is I think I'm having one of my moments because this is so nitpicky because he touches the Thing, turns into the Thing, and the costume for him, it's horrible. It looks even worse than the Thing costume already was because it's like we're just using it for one scene. It's it's one of those things.
Yeah,
And
it
it
looks
looks
like-
a lot like Chris Evans. He's got hair.
It
and then-
looks like they microwaved like an action figure. or
exactly.
something.
And my least favorite part about it is his voice doesn't change.
He's just like, "Hey guys,
It's still Chris
me,
Evans.
Chris Evans."
And it's the most startling thing because then right after you hear Michael Chiklis talking, it's Michael Chiklis, and then he turns back into a Thing, and he's like,
And Michael Chiklis' voice changes.
yeah, and it's like, why would you do that? Like, hold off on that to like not just be like, yeah, and his voice changes, but his just didn't. Oops. And then also Chris Evans touches him, and he goes, ugh, now I'm back to being the Thing forever. It's like, just touch him again, like fucking pat him on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, yeah. So,
Yeah, that's the switching powers. I almost feel like that would be something that would happen in the Avengers, and it'd be like an extremely fan servicey moment. You know, it very much reminded me of the like Thor trying to lift the hammer, and by Thor I mean Captain America.
yeah, Thor can lift the hammer.
Yeah, him trying and succeeding many times, but like that could totally be like a Joss Whedon, like them all eating shawarma style scene
Yeah.
where it's like goofy.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, Joss Whedon. You should do a script for a new Fantastic Four
Yeah,
movie and show us what you got.
Yeah, Joss. Okay, so Nathan Fillion is
Oh,
Mr. Fantastic.
I would watch Nathan Fillion just play all of them.
Why do people like Nathan Fillion too much too?
That's probably true. Let's
Want to
go
hear my
Nathan
impression
Fillion.
of Nathan Fillion? I was on a show that got canceled because it sucked. Come at me. I don't believe that.
Yeah,
I just like
you think it's still going.
yeah. What?
Okay.
I just like kicking that hornet's nest every once in a while.
Just for time's sake, let's just skip to the end of this movie where I have problems with it. So the whole thing is that the Silver Surfer is revealed to just be a worker for this big ominous doom cloud. Not doom, but a cloud that kills things,
Sure.
planets, eats planets. And then he's like, I don't have a choice in doing this.
Mm-hmm.
This is just how it has to
yeah,
be.
like this is
thing-
just the cycle.
yeah, the thing kills things. I can't stop it. And then Sue Storm is like, but you always have a choice. And he goes, not always. But then at the end of the movie, he's like, actually, wait, no, yeah, I can stop this cloud thing.
Yes.
I do have a choice.
I choose. Yeah.
Yeah, he literally says, I have a choice. And then flies back in and just goes into like the eye of it and it dies. Yeah, so why was that conflict not resolved immediately? What was
Because-
stopping the Silver Surfer?
Runtime.
I get that, but like,
yes,
give us a
within the
reason.
thing. No, I mean it's a bad movie. Dan,
Get used to it.
One thing that I'm sorry, I should have talked about this when we were doing the first one. There was
It's okay.
a scene that was good.
Explain.
There was a
Elaborate.
scene that was funny and well done, well executed.
Wait, I think I laughed once throughout the movie, but I can't remember what it was.
Well, it might have been this.
All right,
It's
I hope
after the
so.
crash. It's first-person camera. We're seeing through the eyes of Michael Chiklis, and he wakes up in a hospital bed. And he's like, "What happened?" And Johnny Storm is. You think I'm doing a bit? I'm not. This
I
is
think
a,
you are.
No, He's like, what happened? And Johnny's sitting there, and he's like, it's okay. Like, don't worry. Everyone's okay. He's like, what happened? He's like, don't worry. Everyone else is fine. We have the best plastic surgeons in the world here working. So, and he's like, what happened to me? Hand me the mirror. And again, we're still in his eyes. Yeah. He's like, hand me the mirror. And Johnny's like, I don't know that that's such a good idea. The doctor said that, the shock would be too bad. He's like, hand me the mirror. He takes the mirror and he holds it up, and his face is still the same.
Yeah.
It's just Michael Chiklis.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's well done.
That was kind of funny, I guess, but like
because you know that
you
he
think
becomes
it's
the
supposed
thing,
to be
right?
the thing,
Yeah, like we know, so it plays on our expectations.
But then
that's
immediately you're just like, it's just Chris Evans being obnoxious.
I think it's kind of funny.
That's how I read it.
I thought that's funny on the spectrum of obnoxious character.
One of my notes is that like, I get that Chris Evans is supposed to be obnoxious, and that's the point of his character.
Yeah,
but I think it actually starts to like negate the movie, or like
make
of
the
course.
Movie worse. It's too much. He's too like Shadow the Hedgehog.
That's a great analogy.
He's like Poochie. Like it's too much.
Yeah. So that's why pretty much any hijinks he had, like did you like it when he put the shaving cream in the thing's hand and then threw
absolutely
a lamp at his head so he'd smack himself in the face?
I probably wanted to be like that when I was a kid. Like, that's something that I feel like if you saw it as a kid, you'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, dude. And then he goes, Johnny. Yeah, that's...
Oh, it's gonna be a time where I hit him. It's time for punching. Time to punch.
Punch time.
Punches and kicks o'clock.
All right, so
ding dong.
Okay, so after the second Fantastic Four movie came out, it made even less money than that first one, so they decided to not make the third and finish off that trilogy.
That trilogy. Good God.
Yeah, so
in the last one, Jack Sparrow and the
yeah. Either way, they decided to wait another 8 years before they realized that the rights were gonna go up for the Fantastic Four again. So they're like, all right, we need to make another Fantastic Four movie so Marvel doesn't buy it up, because this is 20th Century Fox we're talking about.
I hope Marvel never buys that.
Oh, they're gonna, dude. What are you talking about?
Disney
is buying Fox.
I hope they don't.
What do you think Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to be? More Iron Man? No, they're going to be like X-Men, Fantastic Four, dude. Bob Iger has already said, yeah, we plan on having Fantastic Four content. Who do you think? Dude, after the Guardians right now is a mess. Do you think they're going to continue with the Guardians? No. They got the Fantastic Four being the core of the Avengers and the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Not the core.
That is what I am seeing. It's either that or Black Panther.
No, Phase 4 is going to be space stuff, which I think is going to be Captain Marvel. But that is Fantastic Four is space stuff.
You were saying earlier about how it's all about the cosmic
stuff.
I was.
You're right. I am right. As long as it's me having been right.
But you were just wrong about.
No, but
and you being right earlier.
But that's abysmal.
Yeah,
that's awful.
It'll probably be better than these movies.
Really and the X-Men bums me out, because X-Men is maybe my favorite superhero franchise.
Oh God,
Spider-Man and X-Men are my
the
favorites.
Movies. Dude, you picked two franchises that are half garbage.
I think X1 is it's the first superhero movie. It's bad.
Batman 1990 was before.
It's the first modern
team
era.
Up.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
X2
Better.
is amazing.
It's a good movie.
X-Men First Class.
Last Stand. That's where they hit it with the money.
Okay,
Brett Ratner.
I know you're just trying to hurt me. X-Men First Class, fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
X-Men Days of Future Past, very very good.
That's a good one.
Logan, fantastic.
Okay, that's a really good movie. Yeah. Okay. But what about X-Men Origins Wolverine?
Bad.
What about Apocalypse?
Bad.
Did you have to think about that one for a second?
Yeah, I was gonna try to say some cool stuff, but then bad. But then I was like, bad.
Okay, that's the good stance to take, because you're not totally wrong, I guess. Speaking of movie with some cool stuff, this reboot of Fantastic Four that came
I
out
just
in
don't want to see
2015.
another Wolverine in like the next 5 years.
I don't think they're gonna try to touch Wolverine.
That
at
would
all.
rule.
That's
Yeah,
my
it-
guess.
make it like-
that's my guess.
Okay, here's how you do it. Honestly, if you're gonna do it, just do one that we haven't seen on screen, but is a big deal. Be like Gambit.
Be like, yeah, do
Have it be
Iron Man.
Gambit, and have him be, you know,
Exactly.
I'm Gambit, yeah. Get some of the gumbo.
Give audiences something new to love, character-wise, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the answer is Gambit or like Cyclops, like something who really has it.
So let's just get back to this last.
Sorry,
movie
I
we
was just
got.
thinking about things that I actually care about, and not the Fantastic Four.
Oh,
Although
dude.
the last one we can talk about.
This one, I feel like I could talk about the most, and it's kind of a shame that we left the last 20 minutes for it. but
Yeah. Let's.
So this is yet again they're just trying to hold on to the rights.
Who directed
of this
it? James Trank,
Josh Trank.
Josh Gad,
y-
your favorite.
I love Josh Gad. No, so Josh Trank, director of Chronicle, which is a found footage movie about teenagers who get telekinetic abilities.
That's what that is.
That's what that is.
He like throws a car.
Yes.
Okay.
That movie is surprisingly good.
Okay.
Like that movie, I thought was going to be bad going in, and ended up really liking it. I remember hearing that Josh Trank was going to be rebooting Fantastic Four, and I was like, I'd like to see where that goes, based off of Chronicle. And they got Michael B. Jordan back because he was in Chronicle. And
He was also in another thing you haven't seen, and it's the same thing you hadn't seen from earlier, and it's The Wire.
Anyway, so Josh Trank came up with a Fantastic Four movie, had a vision, and 20th Century Fox was like, yeah, sure, go for it. And then in 2014, he presented his version to Fox, and Fox was like, we hate this. Apparently, to them, it felt like a sequel to Chronicle, which I don't.
That's a very weird note.
Right? Like, I feel like they just said that because it's the same director. But whatever.
Yeah, I don't think they would have had that particular feedback for anybody else.
Right, like,
Steven Spielberg, they're like, honestly, man, this seems like a sequel to Chronicle.
Yeah, like, okay, exactly. So, like, that note doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But basically, the studio is just like, we hate this. This is not what we want to release.
But they gave him the okay.
Yeah.
I guess this is just the script that he's showing.
Yeah,
them,
exactly.
right? So-
And then they basically, in between September 2014 and August 2015, they did a ton of rewrites and a ton of reshoots and edited the movie down. Like, even the first trailer for the movie.
Wait.
The
So they
planet-
came to 20th Century Fox with it shot, and they said this feels
No,
like a
no,
sequel
no,
to...
no.
Okay.
No, sorry. No.
'Cause I was baffled.
No, that would be wild. Josh Trank funds his own.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Anyway,
It's like Clerks.
yeah. So, and then basically, Josh Trank was also sent to direct the Star Wars story Rogue One, and had a meltdown during the reshoot process of this movie.
Poor guy.
Because the studio was also, because apparently while filming, he was a little difficult. And then after the studio was like, we have notes, like extensive notes. We want you to turn this movie around. He like got really
I
upset.
want to see a video of Josh Trank being really difficult on set, and it's him talking to Miles Teller, and he's like, "Do that shot," and then they start it, and he's like, "Nope, too quick. Nope, too fast. You're
Rushing,
you're
dragging,
rushing,
rushing,
you're rushing,
dragging,
you're rushing.
dragging.
1, 2, 3. Nope, start early. That's okay."
Anyway, yeah. So basically, the studio was messing with his movie, and that upset him, and he ended up like destroying a rental home.
Dang.
And yeah, no, it's basically like his like freak out.
So he like really
he spiraled out of control
Dang.
during the reshoots of this movie, and that's why he got fired from Star Wars.
Wow. Poor guy. Actually, like
No,
that does
it
really
it
suck.
actually sucks when you hear the full story. Because at first you're like, oh, this guy is just like, because when this movie came out, he was like tweeting like the day it came out, and like the review embargo lifted.
Yeah,
and it
I
has
remember
it has a 9% Rotten Tomatoes. He tweeted, he's like, this isn't the movie I made
Yeah.
a year ago. There was a fantastic version of this. You will never see the light
And
of
I
day.
remember when I read that tweet, I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh yeah, of course,"
sure,
because I didn't
dude.
know the story,
Sure,
right? Like
yeah.
I didn't. That sucks.
But watching this movie, it's really apparent that there are two different movies.
and
in
reshoots
this.
must be really hard to go through a lot of the time. Like if you're the thing that comes to mind is Gareth Edwards in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Like if you're going through those reshoots and you're like, I had a thing, and it's just every day it's more different from
Yeah,
what
they're
I wanted.
tweaking it little bit by little
And
bit.
obviously, if you have like a meltdown on set,
Yeah.
like you have stuff going on other than,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so that does suck.
Yeah, but this actually seemed like really extensive changes because like in the original version they had a Fantastic car. They were like,
Really?
yeah, there's a fantastic.
Weird.
There was like a flying Fantastic car. Galactus was in it.
That rules.
Doom was supposed to be more of a spy and not like a video game basement.
He
dweller.
looked awful.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, yeah. We'll get
When
to
he
that.
fully transforms into like
Yeah.
a
Doom.
yeah
With the
it
mask, it's horrible. But yeah, and then like
sucks.
also
If we're gonna get to it
apparently-
though, we should probably get to it. Right? Like,
apparently, this was supposed to be connected with X-Men originally.
what?
Yeah, this movie was supposed to be in the same universe, but then I think once they saw how awful it was when like they had like we need reshoots, they pretty much just scrapped that idea,
Yeah.
which was a good call.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
There were a few things in this movie that I thought were good. Okay, after watching these others, miles ahead writing wise.
I can't. Yes, but also no.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's
I
still
don't think it's
horribly
good.
written.
But the writing of exchanges between characters, I feel like, is so much better than
It is
They don't
better.
literally. There's not a lot of they literally call each other their names in conversation. Like no,
that
Reed,
happens
you
like
don't
a
realize-
couple times.
Yeah, but like it's so
with the
much
Von
better
Doom
than,
introduction, that happens big time.
There's no back explanation of don't you remember we're
Uh-huh.
friends from home and like
That's
there's
true.
none of that.
Instead, they just show you it.
There are a few parts that I think are even a little bit inspired or fun.
There are effective scenes in this movie.
One really good one that I'm like, that's very smart.
Was it right after they transform?
No, but that's the best part. Right?
Okay, cool.
That's
Yeah.
the best sequence by a lot.
Shot.
But young Ben Grimm, and he's going back to, and I think I mentioned this, but shout outs to Ben Grimm for being Jewish in this version.
Oh, man.
We do see a menorah in the background of his house. He goes and he did something wrong, and his brother's like, "Come here, it's clobbering time."
I hated that.
No, that's actually because that's the best way you could possibly explain that catchphrase. Because if somebody has a catchphrase,
That's fair.
that's like you
That's
need
fair.
to
It's
use
not
the
just like out
catchphrase.
of place. It's clobbering time.
You need to have the catchphrase because it's his line. It's stupid, but
That's fair.
he needs
That's
to say
fair.
it.
Okay.
How do you get that to be a thing he says without it being
his brother
cheesy
hitting
beyond
him.
belief? It's his brother saying something cheesy when he beats him up. Like
That's fair.
and that's what it sounds like.
All right, yeah, that's
So
fair.
that I thought was a elegant decision.
All right, fair. You got it's better than all the rest where they just randomly say it.
Have him say a cartoonish line.
Yeah. Also, a quick side note.
And like his brother's like smacking him up. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not
no,
like
it's like-
fun
it's like
like,
abuse,
brothers
yeah.
fighting.
No,
It's like
yeah.
his brother's smacking him up, and then
brother's
his
a
mom
jerk.
is like, "Come over here, brother. You don't hit a kid," and then starts
Yeah.
beating him up.
Yeah, yeah, because what was he?
Yeah.
But yeah, can I just make a quick side note that Miles Teller's dad is Tim Heidecker in these movies of Tim and Eric fame
Miles Teller's dad is Tim Heidecker.
in this movie. Like
Tim Heidecker is in this movie.
Yeah, he's the dad. He's Reed Richards' dad when he's like a little kid and he's watching TV. And he's like, the power went out. Oh,
That's
Reed.
wow, weird.
Yeah, odd
Comes
choice.
in and he's like, spaghetti.
But yeah, so take that information as you will.
That's a crazy dude.
But yeah, so I think this movie spends a lot of time with like exposition and like, you know, look at their childhoods, look at how they got to where they are. I feel like that's not
Yeah.
like there's that I hated the classroom sequence in the
Yep.
very beginning
Yep.
when he's like, I invent this thing where I can teleport stuff, and the teacher's like, this isn't like that last thing, and he goes, no, I gave up on that. And then everybody's
It's like some
this
young
isn't like
Sheldon.
the jetpack
Yeah, it's
thing. And
very
he's like,
young
no,
Sheldon.
I gave up on that idea. I'm working on teleportation.
I
and
also
it
hate
works."
kids being right in movies.
Yeah,
This
like
is
it
a
works.
recurring
His
theme for
machine
me is-
works.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so-
I hate that. What I would like is here's how you do that. And all these movies have time skips.
big
But
ones.
here's how you do that. You have them do something, and it just have it short out the power in the house, right?
Yeah, not the whole city.
And it doesn't teleport something somewhere. Mm-hmm. Or even if it does, maybe if
Well, there's a
if he's
little
like
bit of sand. Remember?
yeah, but like just enough to be like, maybe this kid's onto something.
Yeah.
But like it's because he's
Instead,
a kid.
he's just blatantly
he's a
right.
kid.
Yeah.
Instead, he's like right. He teleports
Yeah.
something to another dimension.
He
the
was
fact
right
that it's
and
another
always has
dimension,
been.
I think, is also a cool way to do this. I think it's better than
Yeah, Planet
going
Zero.
up into space and then getting hit by solar radiation.
Yeah. Or going at the speed of light.
And I think, what did you think about how they all get their powers differently because of the situation in which they're transported back? Where do you fall on that? Because I'm mixed.
I guess I'm also mixed because I'm like, I guess they have to have like a reason why they each have specific traits.
They've never done that before, though, which is why I
don't-
was a little bit like,
In the 2005 one, I'm pretty sure Chris Evans, doesn't he get hit with like a fireball or something?
you see visually a visual effect of them being hit by the solar radiation
Okay.
that mirrors the powers that they will get, but there's
Okay.
no explanation
Never
why
mind.
they all
okay.
get different things.
Never mind then. Yeah, in this one, it's like they're trying to teleport back, and the one dude's door doesn't close, so a bunch of rocks fly in, and then he becomes the thing.
Which
And
and,
then,
it's a
uh,
very panicked sequence. I don't
yeah.
think it would work if it was
Drawn out.
and like, oh
Slow
no, all
burning.
these rocks are getting into me, Ben Grimm's thing.
Yeah, no, it's like very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the first time I saw this movie, I did not notice that. I was
yeah,
just like,
and
they
I
got
think
that
that
far.
that's
I
fine.
think the Reed Richards somehow becomes stretchy. I don't
that
remember that.
actually doesn't make sense.
No, him and Sue's don't make sense
Don't
at
really.
all because she's not even there. She's just in the room.
I hate
where
her
the
patterns.
patterns.
BS.
That's what it's all about, man. It's like why? What? Oh, that library scene's so awful. He's like, you want to talk about good writing, Ben? He's like, they're talking about something. She's like, you're really arrogant or whatever. And then he's like, blah 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 blah. And he's like, so you like music? And she's like, I like patterns. And he's like, what do you mean?
I
And she's
was
like, well, it's all
okay-
patterns. It's
I
just
was okay
frequency."
with that scene for a weirdly long time
That's weird.
because they were having the back and forth where he kept trying to like talk to her and she was like shutting him down. And I thought that was cool because
you
it
like
shows,
music?
hey, you used to be the smartest dude
Now
you
you're
knew,
not. Okay.
but now everyone's very smart here and you're kind of
Fair.
like mansplaining to somebody
Yeah.
like, hey, you know about like the Big Bang? And she's like, yes, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
But then then the patterns thing, I'm like, no, check out. This sucks. Get canceled. Red alert. This sucks.
Yeah. But yeah, and then they all get their powers in the way, and then starts
Then it becomes like a horror movie very briefly.
best part of
yeah.
this is I think these portions of the movie are what the whole thing was gonna
and
be.
pretty well acted.
Because yeah, I would say that these sequences are the best acted because I also doing my research, I was like when Reed is on the table with his arms stretched, his
Yeah.
legs, and it's all just really long, and it's like just kind of disturbing to
Yep,
look at,
yeah.
and it's like grimly lit.
It's unsettling.
And then when his arms go back, you hear like bones cracking.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty.
muscle.
It's body horror.
Yeah, I was like, this is body horror.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
And upon research, Trank was trying. He was like inspired heavily by Cronenberg with this.
that
movie.
I can see that in
Perfectly
that,
good sense.
That part for
Yeah,
sure.
in that
I
respect.
think the part with the thing, the parts
Help,
that are good,
come back for me, and he's like
Where-
looking up at the vent.
where he's he's encased still partially in rock, I
rocks
think
and
is very
breaking
good.
Out of it, yeah.
And then I think when Buster Scruggs man comes in with the government.
slime ball central.
Yeah. He comes in and
Not Ben Mendelsohn.
yeah, he's like southern. He's I think of him as not Walton Goggins.
He looks like Ben Mendelsohn though. That's
Yeah, I
my
know,
thing.
but he always
No, yeah,
plays
he plays
Walton
very
Goggins
similar-
type.
yeah.
Where he's just like, I am dumb and mean spirited.
I am slimy.
Where he walks in and the thing is like in shadow through the whole conversation, and it is very much played because you're like, oh man, what's it gonna be like? What's it gonna be like? And there are like those horror type moments, and I do agree that the sequence when they first come back and his helmet's all smashed up
Yeah,
and he's
and he's
crawling through the
crawling and
wreckage
he
towards
turns around.
what he thinks is just a burning, immolated body.
Yeah.
And he turns around and he sees that he's actually been crawling for a long time and his leg is all
stretched.
drooped, and then he freaks and passes out.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
the best the movie gets,
Yes.
probably.
And then like, yeah, the body horror stuff, and then there's also like that moment where he's in the air vent and the thing is like, what's going on? Like, help me, man. He's like,
Yeah.
I'll come back for you.
That
And then-
them trying to talk to each other, and even when he's being sedated and he's like, "Where are my friends? Like, where
Yeah,
are?"
exactly.
I'm like, "This
Like,
is actually like
it's like
well
interesting
acted."
stuff. There's like emotion.
You
there's
feel like
some
he
sort
cares
of
about-
something grabbing you.
Mhm.
And then there's also the scene where, so then like he goes 1 year later, and it's like right then and there it just turns into something else. The Sue Storm's hair is just more blonde and clearly a wig because this is where the reshoots come in. Miles Teller doesn't have facial hair anymore or something. These are like a bunch of things that like are famously like tells
CG
of the
Carrie
reshoot.
Fisher,
Yeah, exactly. What? Anyway, no, we're
Rogue
not.
One.
Yeah, I gotcha. Anyway, and then there's one more good sequence in the year later. It's when Doom comes back, and he's just like in a room, like a hospital room, and then he just explodes a guy's head with.
I
his
just didn't
mind.
like how Doom looked.
I no Doom.
I was
looks
fine
so
with the
stupid.
spirit of the scene.
Yeah,
I
and
just,
it's like it is actually scary.
I was trying to
He's
think
just
of some joke with not Walton Goggins.
he's just walking down the hallway, and there's just like nurses like, what's going on? And their heads explode, and there's blood everywhere, and you're like, oh my god,
The
this is
slimy
actually
central
scary.
dude, because you know he's in Holes, right?
My girlfriend was like, that's the guy from Holes.
Yeah,
The-
him being like, now
Dig
these
more
came
holes."
from Planet Zero, because
Yeah.
you know Zero
Yeah.
and Holes.
Yeah.
It's like,
Nice.
you can't read, can you?
Nice.
Zero.
Nice, good, well done.
Thank you.
But yeah, the Doctor Doom head exploding sequence where he's just like the most
God,
powerful.
Holes rules. That movie's
no,
so good.
dude. Don't.
What are you talking about?
Oh no.
No, what are you talking about?
Catch us again on the Holes episode where we talk about Holes, and it's clearly a movie where we're
What
going to
are-
disagree with
You
each
think
other.
Holes is bad?
So let's finish this episode.
All
Let's.
right, I will, but I am chomping at the bit.
Okay, so just a few more fun facts about this movie, other than the ending is horribly rushed and full of reshoots, and it's pretty apparent what
Blue
is and
beam to
isn't.
space.
There's a blue beam shot in the sky, and you gotta stop it. Also, Doom is exploding heads in one scene, and then he goes back to the planet, and he's like, I have to stop the Fantastic Four. How do I do it? I'll throw some rocks at them. That's how I'll try to stop. I'll just move these rocks at them. It's like, explode their heads. Have some
That is
reason.
fair.
And also, they don't have any space helmets when they go back to that planet. There are no space
Miles
helmets.
Teller shapeshifts into a Mexican guy for one scene.
And that scene's really uncomfortable to watch. It's
yeah,
so
I
weird.
was like, because I was literally
Ugh.
like, is that supposed to be Mexican Miles Teller?
And then his face changes. It's like,
Yeah.
ew. Yeah.
Never done in any other movies, Fantastic Four movies though, which I think it was an uncomfortable scene, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm glad that they thought
Thought of something.
you would probably do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna play. I'll play the ending clip as we're finishing up here.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
there's
yeah.
there's
That-
more.
We got to go out on that one.
Yeah, exactly. There's some more fun facts about this movie. Mads Mikkelsen. You know who that is?
No, he's in this.
No. He was originally auditioning to
For
be
Doom?
No, Mr. Fantastic.
What? No.
No, I swear to God. And then he walked out of the audition, and he was like, "That was the worst audition I've ever had." And do you want to know why? All they asked him to do was to stretch his arms. They're like, just stretch as far as you can. And he was like, "This is not a real audition."
My guess, maybe,
Lay it on us.
is that they wanted to see like, how do you act when you're trying to act stretchy? Do you have the stretchy energy?
What do you like
that
when
we need?
stretched?
Yeah. Do you have the energy well stretched that we need for this part?
Yeah. So that's just a fun fact.
That's insane. Although, if this were a creepier, darker movie, I could see having Mads Mikkelsen
that would
as
be awesome,
right?
Yeah.
Because he's like, it was really
he's
funny
kind
because
of a
Mads
creepy dude.
Mikkelsen is the brand spokesperson for this brand of like Dutch
Sure.
beer.
Yeah, I bet.
So he's like on a bunch of vans and stuff, and he's not like a sexy leading man. He's kind of like a
What are you talking about?
spooky leading man.
That is more accurate. Spooky? Yeah. Also, this movie lost $100 million for Fox Studios. Yeah. It made like no money.
Do
Surprisingly.
you think it directly led to their acquisition by Disney?
No. But
I guess they have more money than God. Like it doesn't.
yeah,
100
no, yeah,
million is a
They
ton.
also make the Deadpool and X-Men movies, so they're fine.
They also make like non-superhero movies, which theoretically make money, but
but they ain't raking in the big bucks. Anyway, LP from Run the Jewels fame did the score for the credits in this movie, which we will hear in just a
is
second.
it an original rap about like one guy stretches, the other guy's rocks, one's in fire,
invisible.
the
Yeah.
invisible talks. Like, Wild Wild West.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. But no, yeah, LP does the score.
Fantastic.
And then my favorite fun fact about this movie is that after it came out, they were still like, yes, we're doing a sequel.
God damn.
And we're still going to make it. And nobody, of course, wanted to be behind that. One guy was like, I'll direct the sequel. And that man was
Wait.
Tommy Wiseau. He was like, Fox, just hire me. I want to do Fantastic Four sequel. and that would have been the best.
You've
thing
seen his Joker audition, right?
That's real. No,
He
come
doesn't
on,
not
no
actually
way.
not actually auditioning for the part of the Joker, but I
he's
think
he's got.
it was supposed to be for the upcoming Joker origin thing. He put out unsolicited. He put out a
You're
a
making
reel
this
of
up.
him just look it up right now.
I'll look it up right after.
A
this.
reel of him doing line readings in makeup and costume as Heath Ledger's Joker from like an interrogation scene where he's like, you know, how could I kill you? I need you, Batman. Like, yeah, it's pretty, you know, it's exactly what you would expect. And it's exactly what the part he wants to play, right? Because
That's
he wants to
awesome.
be like, I'm a twisted
Cool.
genius.
Yeah, exactly.
Best
yeah.
fiends,
yeah.
friends.
Okay, so right now I'm about to play the last line of Fant 4 Stick from 2015.
This sucks.
Yeah, this is like the part where I was like,
They also
oh,
did this in an
God.
Avengers movie, but I think they did it pretty well. Where
probably, I
he
don't
says, "Avengers," and then it
yeah.
cuts, and you're like, "That's good
That's pretty
because
good.
it's built the you know,
Yeah,
yeah."
This is not good. Get ready, everybody.
Name for it.
I come up with a name for the team.
Like the Human Torch and the Torchettes.
No.
Kidding me? How about the big brain and his neurons?
How about the big brain and her neurons?
How about two guys, a girl, and the thing that nobody wanted?
Hey, we both know that you could take him.
Also, Miles Teller isn't looking at the thing in this scene. He's like looking past him.
Come a long way since the garage.
Gotta say, it's fantastic.
Say that again.
Say that again?
Just told me exactly what
It's
I needed.
fantastic.
Ready?
Yes, it is. Guys, I got it. Ready?
It just starts playing a Run the Jewel song. I should have queued up a Run the
Yeah.
Jewel song. That would have been funny. But yeah, that's the last line of that movie. How abysmal is that, audience?
Yikes.
Yeah, so that was Industry Professionals, y'all. It was Fantastic Four. It was awful. We did not have a good time.
Yeah, no, this wasn't
Watching
even
these
fun.
Thanks for everybody who also
This was the
didn't
last
have
episode
fun.
of Industry Professionals.
All right, everybody.